wouldn't have thought that I could, but you know, the advice was
But you
really
could.
helpful, and it worked. So
That's
I
so
don't know that
great.
I would have tried to stretch it that much without thinking it would rip in some way, and it didn't.
Right,
So
it didn't. That's great.
somebody
That
asked,
is
did
so good.
those
So yeah, so
finish
yeah, around
exactly
calf, the
like you
picture you
had
had in your design phase. So it's kind of similar, but in because it's your own work from your design
the
phase,
the
the
razor
one,
blade boot?
yeah, I think so. The razor
No, because
blade.
my design phase, I had the blades on the vamp, and they all came to a point at the toe. And in my mind, I was thinking like razors on the toe, and I kick and hurt somebody. Not that I was like helping out the angst that I was feeling. And
Yeah.
in the end, after I did my, like, I work out a lot of stuff in the sample phase, and when I got to
Uh-huh.
this point, it didn't shape in the way I wanted on the vamp, so I decided to forgo that and just have the blades cutting into the vamp and the counter when they come down, which was its own different message. So that
Right.
changed. But the
Right.
closest
Oh,
I
that is.
actually with um, when people hire me, like having to do a drawing and show them
Hmm.
what it's going to look like, because I don't
Yeah.
necessarily know what things are going to look like. But the closest
Hmm.
one that I ever had work out the same as the drawing
Was.
was these Ivy boots that I had done. Hold on,
Wait.
sorry. These boots.
Ooh. Oh,
So
wow.
this woman
Oh,
had
that's really cool.
wanted them to look like Ivy was growing on the boot
Uh-huh.
outside,
Uh-huh.
and actually I have
So,
her folder right
so
here.
it's also on the vamp and the toe area too? Wait, let
So
me
that
see.
that was like
Wow, it comes
that was the
down from the,
drawing
yep,
that I did for her, which is really
beautiful.
unusual. And then it was really close to the drawing.
Yeah. Wow. Oh yeah. That's so cool.
So that's my most successful in that way. To me, it's hard to describe to people that when I work, I figure it out. It's not like I can just draw it and then make that, because you change, yeah,
Yeah.
while you're doing.
Yeah. Yep. Totally
Yeah.
understand that. Okay,
So
let me
that's
see. Who else?
about making this boot with the thistle, because as I make it, I figure it out, and then I can say, there you go. That's what
Right.
it'll look
Yeah.
like. But you don't have
And
the
then
luxury of time to do that, and that's one of the benefits of this whole coronavirus shutdown, is having time.
that is amazing in a way, right?
Yeah.
Let
And
me
that
see. Is the Antique Fair Brimfield?
yes, it is. Yeah.
It's a week-long one, right? Do you have like
They
a
have
specific
two,
day you
three,
go?
they have it in May, and then they also have it in, um, what do you call it? July. Here's my favorite. I just posted about this week, but my Brimfield find,
Oh,
her
is this like,
area for the drink, and then the
oh, that's
super,
amazing.
need to shine it up a little bit. But I found that at
Yeah,
Brimfield, and they didn't know, the guy selling it had no idea what it was for.
what it was
And
it
then
for?
I had a peg float too. Somebody was just asking me, here, one of these for
Oh,
cutting the,
wow.
and
What
that,
is
like,
it?
I got
What do,
$5.
why do, wow, $5?
Yeah, yeah. And again, he had no idea what it was for. And it's for, you use wooden pegs in cowboy boots to nail the shank area.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
These wooden
Uh-huh,
pegs.
uh-huh.
And they stick through into the last. When you pull the last, all the little points are sticking in. So you put that inside, and it breaks all the tips off.
Ooh, I didn't know that. I've seen other people use that as almost like a rasp, like, but
As a
not for inside, as a rasp, but not inside the shoe, but on the
yeah,
outside. So it
yeah.
can be used for that as well. But I
I'm sure
didn't know the
for
inside.
things. Sometimes I've seen them fixed onto a pole on the table, sort of like you get a fixed shoe stand peg,
Mm,
but
mm,
then you can rub the boot back and forth on it, with it
mm,
inside, because it can
mm.
reach. If the boot shaft is 14 inches
Yeah,
long, it's hard to get in
yeah.
there
Oh
and get.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and those pegs go all the way through the shank area and the arch of the foot. It's like pretty deep in there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I wish you can do like a live stream of you working. I want to see. We should do online boot making courses. Oh, someone says, do you have any signature stitches in your boots?
That's a good question. I don't know that I would say that. I do a lot of hand embroidery with silk in like I machine stitch, and then I loop it around with the hand embroidery. So I do that in almost all my boots. So maybe that's a signature, and I'll show you on my husband's boots. Like this, the stitching here is what I'm talking about. And I really enjoy doing that. I do that all by hand, but then that's little machine stitching.
Right.
And
it adds a little more like thickness and like more texture than just the machine stitching, I feel
yeah,
like.
it sticks out a little bit, and visually it's like a thicker line weight. And I like doing that. A lot of my boot making processes are just things I like doing, so I keep doing them over and over again. And
that's amazing. I mean, that's the best.
All of them.
That's the best way to go about. Like if you incorporate what you like to do in your work. That's how you do it.
I sew, like I said before, I sew my soles by hand, which is a little unusual for cowboy boots and Western boots. But I just like doing. I feel like it's a skill that challenges me all the time. I'm never satisfied with it and wanted to get better and better. And it has nothing to do with efficiency or, obviously I could make boots quicker if I did it the more traditional way with the big machine, but I like doing it. So I'm living the dream.
That's amazing. And you're kind of bringing like the American Western cowboy boot making and the traditional like bespoke shoemaking together.
Yeah, it's a little mix of the two little backgrounds I came to it with my practice.
Oh, that's cool. That is very cool. I'm like, anything else like you want to share? I feel like I asked all my questions I wanted to hear from you. Oh, another question through. Are there certain leathers or other materials that are preferred or that you use that are different from other boot makers? I do hear like, what's it? So some people love using the kangaroo leather.
Yeah, that's pretty common in Western boots. I use it a little bit, and mostly it's just a design issue. Like if I use a lot of kid because that works for me, and but those Sistel boots are actually going to be in black kangaroo, so I'll be using kangaroo on those. It just depends on the design. I don't think I use materials that are unusual. I try to track or be aware of all the materials that I use, and I use the best ones that I can find. So I buy a lot from Horween because I went to the tannery and I got a tour, and it was wonderful. And I like that they can track their leathers down to like certain cow farms in Canada and the US. And the Orion calf leather, I love that that's from small farms in France, and I'm half French, so that is really important to me, and I understand the traditions there and how they sustain around them. So I do try to be aware of the materials I use, and I always use JR soles. They're expensive, but they're amazing.
Great to work with.
Already written into the price that's the sole that's going to be there. And I like their story and their eco-responsibility too. So. Oh,
that's great. That is so great. Bison? Someone asks. Lots of texture.
I have some bison.
Is that shoe that you made? Was that bison? No.
Funny enough, that was is a Napa lamb that I bought when I was at the school in London. One of the leather dealers that we went to had these really textured hides, and I bought that. And I'm not sure why it wrinkled up into that texture, but I had to back it to keep the texture because it was so fine. But I do have some bison.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and you use it for your boots?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Oh, very cool. Oh, I want to see, like, I feel like I can just like keep on watching you work. If you ever do a live stream working, let me know, because
I like doing demos, especially with school groups. I'll do The Lynn
Yeah.
Museum Center of Shoemaking History, and they do every summer. They have a free fun Friday for families, and so there's like hundreds and
Oh,
hundreds of people with, and I just set
oh,
up and work in a corner
oh,
next to
that
one of
is
these.
amazing. Do you
And
think you can shout out next time when that happens? The
yeah, yeah,
museum?
they already canceled this summer's because of the
Oh,
coronavirus. Normally it happens every summer,
such a
so
shame.
yeah.
Okay, it's summertime.
And I
I'm
get the
gonna,
best questions from kids coming through. My kids,
yeah.
but other people's kids think it's kind of cool.
They've seen you work like from beginning to end, right? I feel like they're taking it in though.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know.
they're great. And
Yeah.
my comes out and sets up at the drafting table and will draw and keep me company. I mean, I guess that's like
Oh,
the saddest. I love my workspace and I'm really fortunate to have it, especially now. But
yeah.
it's very lonely and it's isolating. And I'm definitely somebody who thrives on interactions with other people. So that's the hardest part. And
Yeah. No, I'm
talk
loving that
about
you,
how small workspaces, like your workspace there is this accessible street level, wonderful little
right.
space. Talk about
But
how these old shops help sustain the craft, because if you get people in that enjoy the atmosphere of the space and understand these crafts, then they get more appreciation and value.
that's what
So
we're
I
trying
wish
to. Mhm.
someone else.
I'm hoping we can keep it up, you know. But
Yeah,
I'm so thankful that you're like, yeah, I'm totally open to talking. It was
yeah.
really nice that
Uh,
yeah, thank you so much for opening up your space
no,
and
you're welcome.
showing us around.
Thank you for
And
asking.
your shoes are beautiful. I look forward to that thistle boot progress. Yeah, and in between the work though, do the clients also get to like say like yes or no, I like this or that? Like your methods, you're
Yes,
like, I like this one.
I have stages. I have the first stage, the design phase. I would not start making a boot until they approved the design and we were 100% on the same page, like we're moving forward.
Page.
And then like another payment at that point. And then there's a midway point where I do a final fitting, where I just lace up the bottoms before I put the inseaming and welt, and they try it on. And that's another point where we could talk about it. And in the end, they don't have to buy them. They would lose the design fee deposit, which is significant. So it behooves both of us to not get to the point where they don't want the boots. And that hasn't happened yet, but
Okay, good.
knock on
Yeah,
wood.
no, I'm like, wow, that's
But
a
and also say, no, it's not right, the fit's not right, or
right,
for whatever. Yeah.
right. Oh, I'm
So
looking forward to this one.
the custom stuff is hard to figure out. Like running a business is hard to figure out. But I went to RISD before, and they were actually really helpful with like, if you're a custom jeweler, do it this way, and that actually applies to how
Wow.
practice. So I gather all these
Oh,
information and have put together a system that works well so far.
oh, that is great. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. We have so much to learn from you. I want to keep this conversation going, but I think time's up for today.
Okay.
But let's keep on doing this. And if I'm hoping that Corona won't last too long. So, but if it does keep on going, like even if it's over and we get back into the studio space and we are back in our regular lives, I would totally love to do even like 10 minutes of your time if I can ask for a little bit and we can do a video and chat and you know up,
Anytime.
up,
My
update ourselves with what's going on, would be lovely. And I actually
yes,
still have your wooden block,
I
the
know.
blank glass. Yeah, it's still safe in our space. So yeah, and your umbrella too.
But when
So well,
where I'm not that far away, and I keep thinking like now that we can't go anywhere, I'm like, gosh, I really should just drive down and visit Marika and see you, and I
yeah.
will
Or
now.
I was thinking like, oh, should I just ship it? But then it's nice to see each other. So unless you're like, yeah, unless you're in a super rush, let's try to meet up and I'll
Okay,
get it over to you.
sounds good.
All right. All right.
Thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. All
Bye.
right. Bye.